Bonjour à tous. Hello, everyone. So today, I think it's my second live stream, and I want to talk about the experience of finding a permanent job in France, or maybe in Paris, or maybe in Lyon, in Toulouse, in Bordeaux, in those kind of big cities. Or I think my experience or my advice can be extended to the topic of finding a job in Europe in general. But as far as I'm concerned, I think this situation in France is extremely severe. So I hope my experience and my advice can be helpful to you if you are also looking for a job here. So basically, my situation is that I'm currently I'm still enrolled in a master program in France in a business school. And technically speaking, I finished all my academic courses, and I finished my internship basically in the middle of November. So now I also finished my graduation dissertation. So basically, I'm just waiting my school to give me all the scores, all the scores I have achieved, and then luckily in March 2021 I will get my diploma. I will finish all my studies, etc., etc. And hopefully in May 2021, I will attend the graduation ceremony in my school. So that's my whole situation. But the thing you need to be aware of is that in France, if you have finished your internship and you have turned in your graduation dissertation, so if you have finished these two and you have completed all your courses, so that means you are eligible to apply for a full-time job in France or in Europe. Well, actually, I'm not sure if this thing applies in all the countries in Europe, but in France, if you have finished your all your courses, your classes, you did your graduation dissertation, and you finished your internship. So in this situation, you can just apply for full-time job. And in France, the full-time job, actually there are two types of full-time job. One is called CDD, and the other one is called CDE. So CDD is basically like a fixed-term contract. I think I explained this a little bit in my previous video. So a CDD is that you can sign a contract, which is also a type of employment contract with your employer. So in this contract, both you and your employer will state for how long, maybe for how many months they are going to employ you. They are going to employ you as a full-time employee. So this can be a 1 month contract. Yeah, that actually that's possible, and it can also be like a full year contract, or maybe just 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year, or maybe 2 years or 3 years. So it depends on how you negotiate with your employer. And the other type of full-time employment is called CDE. So for the CDE, that basically means this is like a undefined, sorry. So basically, a CDE means there won't be a time limit in your contract. So basically means it's a full-time job, and it is also some sort of lifetime job. But the reality in France is that the French company, or maybe the international company in France, they are trying to limit the number of CDE. So the possibility of applying for a CDE is like very, very rare, because if a company is trying to hire you for the rest of your life, I think there will be a lot of challenges, a lot of risk. So even though they try to hire you as a CDE, and then they realize, you are not a good fit. And I heard a lot of story about it, actually. The company or the HR will find every possibility they could to to make you live on your own, like basically on your own. Because if they fire you, one thing is that it takes like a hell amount of time. So it basically takes about 6 months to fire someone in France, or they can just make your life like super bad. Like you're basically working for the company, but it wouldn't be a pleasant journey anymore. So eventually you will quit your job, not the company will fire you, like something like that. So now we are clear that there are like CDE or CDI exist in France, and that's how things work in France. But to apply for any full-time job in France is not easy, because from what I have experienced and from what I have been told by my French friends, we kind of reached our mutual agreement that looking for a full-time job is not going to be easy for anyone. Whether you're French or you are an international student, or you are um, just a working professional who is trying to break into the French labor market. So it's not going to be easy for anyone. Um, I have been told by my friends that they graduated. They, previously they had some kind of internship experience or some kind of full-time job experience, but in reality, it's still very difficult for them. So I did some survey, and my results are like super shocking. So according to my survey, basically I talked to a lot of my French friends, and I did a survey on Google, just to understand how long it takes between the time when you finish your classes, you have done your graduation paper, you have finished your internship, etc. So between this time to you finally got an offer, it usually takes about 6 months to 1 year to find a job. So that means if you are a student, you are going to have to experience at least 6 months of unemployment. So the reality is really harsh. And during this 6 months to 1 year period, you basically have to treat your life. Basically you have a lot of free time, but you have to treat your free time, your life, as a job of applying for like full-time job. So in my case, I wake up around 10 a.m. and then I go to sleep around maybe 1 a.m. or maybe 2 a.m. and I believe I spend 8 hours a day applying for jobs on every job portal I could find. That could be LinkedIn, that could be Glassdoor, that could be Indeed, and some French local job portals, such as I think there's like My Paris Job. There's like Job Teaser. There's Hired, and among other French job portals. So even though I have all the help I get, I had my English resume. I built my cover letter. I think my cover letter is pretty good. It stated my motivation of living in Paris, maybe living in France or in Europe in general. And I have listed my strengths. Yeah, I know my disadvantages, but I also pointed out that I have this kind of disadvantages. I'm not fluent in French, but I speak fluent English, and I speak Mandarin. I have sort of like I have a lot of human resources or recruiting experience within Asia, within China, within Europe, and I also did some recruiting in the US as well. So I can conclude myself as a global recruiter, like a global human resources professional. And I have solved a lot of problem, like a lot of real business problems, and my methodology of doing things, of doing recruiting, of doing how to manage talents actually worked well for the company. So I basically studied a lot of what I did and would have achieved and what can be learned for the company if they try to hire me. So I listed all the advantages and all the disadvantages. So just to point out, this is the person you're going to hire, and I have those advantages, and I believe my advantages, can be larger than my disadvantages. Of course, I mean, in the end, you have to help me with the visa, with the work permit, and everything. But in the end, your gains are way better than your, the monetary or maybe the administrative process you have to take. So basically that. And we talked about the time, the effort you need to be put in finding a job. And the other thing is that you can I think it's basically your mental health is also very important, because according to my survey, I also talked to a lot of people by phone or maybe by messenger, just to understand what they were going through when they were trying to apply for jobs. So the results, I think, is universal. So basically, for everyone who is going through this problem, it's like they are under a lot of stress. I think some people even got depressed because of this. So in general, everyone is upset. So your mental health will be very, very important for you to going to to deal with to get through this period. So I just want to say that it is normal for everyone, whether you're French or not. But if you are very, very determined to work in France or maybe work here, maybe work in Europe, you have to be strong. You have to be very motivated. I know that maybe 99% of the letter you will get will be rejection. But that doesn't mean it's you. I think the majority of the reason that you get rejected is because you are a foreigner. That's the only purpose you get rejected, because in France, basically, the labor market is very unique. So I think in France in general, they have a SMIC, which is basically the minimum salary you get per month. I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's somewhere between 1,500 per month as your base salary, and that's for everyone. There is a minimum salary for everyone. But if you are a foreigner and if you want to get employed by a company, I think there is another rule applied, because you are a foreigner, so the company will have to help you with the visa, with the work permit. So in this case, the French labor law requires that if you are a foreigner and if you want to work in Paris or maybe working anywhere in France, your salary has to be 1.5 times of the SMIC, like 1.5 times of the minimum monthly salary. So that is basically I think that basically means that if you're a foreigner and if you want if you want to get hired in France, you have to have a minimum salary of 2,000 euro, 200 euro per month. So I think that's quite a lot compared to the local French talent. So on top of that, I think the other reason why you are not getting offered or getting interviews is that if a company wants to hire you and they have to pay more than the local talents, the HR department will have to deal with a lot of administrative paper, to fill out the information why this position they are trying to hire is unique, that they have to hire a foreign national. So basically, it means that the HR person have to fill out a lot of paper to prove that the position you apply for, and is very unique, that they couldn't find anyone in France. So they have to go to a direction where they should find an international person. So I think these two reasons, they are most popular reason you got rejected. And the other thing is that the competition. You're basically competing with the local talents. So compared to them, you have no, I don't think no is the perfect term to say, but you have less knowledge of the culture. You have less knowledge about the work environment, of the how to deal with local clients with their local language. So there are just difficulties for us to apply for jobs. But I think the other thing we need to learn is that there are opportunities. So I think for international people, our strength is, the one thing is that we speak English relatively better than the French one. So I think that's one thing we should all agree on. Because in France the level of English is just so low, and it's the truth. And the other thing is that we are truly international minded. We are truly open minded, because I saw actually a lot of job description on LinkedIn, on those kind of websites. So for a lot of startups, for a lot of international companies, they prefer to hire someone who is really international minded, who is really open minded. But I guess we have different definition about open-minded or international minded, because for a lot of European, I'm not talking about France in general, but for a lot of European people, their mind of internationalization is going Europe or going European. So, but for us, who come from a non-European country, being international is larger. We have a larger context of just being in Europe and everything. So maybe it could be you have experience in a country that is far away, that is far different from Europe, or maybe from France. But I guess for a lot of French people, being international, it to mean that you have work experience in Belgium or in Italy. I mean, it is cross country and everything, but it still is within the European Union. So I guess compared to that, we truly have a more international mindset. So when it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to learning new things, we really have a more open-minded personality or ability to just to accept new ideas, to accept new ways of doing things. I think that's the truth. And the other, I think the other advantages we have is that we have, I think we are more mobile. Well, that means we can relocate to a different city or location, or even a country where the local people, they're just reluctant to do that, because for example, if you live in Paris, or if you work in Paris, and there is maybe a perfect job opportunity in Laval, and you think basically Laval is a village, and not everyone is going there. So compared to them, we are actually very mobile to move to a different location and everything. So I think these three are our advantages. So just take note, and just apply for as many positions as possible. And I think that a lot of us also understand that being just being a foreign national living in France, and we want to find a job in Europe in general. So we're not really limited ourselves in France. So if you are applying for jobs, try to remember that there are opportunities in maybe in Switzerland, or maybe in Germany, in Belgium, or maybe in the Northern European countries such as the Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, etc. So you can actually also apply for jobs there, or you can also apply for jobs in the European Union or European Economic Area, or even in a larger region such as EMEA. So I think that's your possibilities. So you don't have to limit yourself in France. I think that's all I want to say for this time, because I'm really hungry. So a bientôt. I hope in the next video I will share with you more like my insights, my advice, and I hope my channel can help you. So thank you. A bientôt.